What if you gave yourself permission to want what you want? What if there was no searching, there was no proving, there was no certain strategy, but a mix and a concoction of all of it? What if motherhood, womanhood is just here to teach you that you are enough? That just by being you, that's it. Who you are, how you want to feel is enough. And the more you step into that enoughness, the more you honor what you want and who you want to be, that is what sustainability is all about. So today is day 2 of the Live Alive challenge, non-challenge, whatever I'm calling it. And you're going to hear at the end the action steps that I give you the opportunity to take. This is more about you giving yourself permission to want what you want. All right, it's working. So we're at day 2 of Live Alive. I have some notes, but if you're familiar with me, believe it or not, I just riff a lot. Things come out of my mouth. And I have a little surprise for you. I have my manuscript right here. And I am going to share something from my upcoming book. And we're going to talk today about sustainable habits. Now, I'm not going to lie that to me, thinking about sustainable habits or strategy or all of the step-by-step blueprint system things about life and what everyone wants and desires, like, tell me the specific strategy, Heather, tell me what I need to do, tell me where I need to go, what that, like, tell me exactly how to get there, is not the way I roll. Nor is it the way that most people who have been at the game for a long time roll. I also want to point out the pink elephant in the room. I got my eyebrows tinted today, and this is going to be very much in alignment with our topic today of, like, what do you desire? What's on your bucket list? What's going to make you feel good? When I get my facial hair taken care of, I feel like a magical unicorn. And my children call me an angry bird because I get them tinted. So I've never had microblading. I've never had any of that. I just get my eyebrows threaded. And then every other time I will go and get them tinted. So for the first 24 hours, I'm not allowed to, like, wash them. And so my kids think I look like an angry bird, which they're very aggressive. So yeah, it will come off a little bit. But I just thought that was hilarious because, like, just show up as yourself, right? Okay. So now that we've talked about angry bird eyebrows, we're A-okay. So for those of you who are listening, watching, wherever you are, if you're like, what is this Facebook group? What's Instagram? You can find at Heather Chauvin _. It's just find me, go at, and then my name. Or just look me up. You should be able to find me there. I think there's multiple Heather Chauvins. Yeah, but you'll see the one I have like 10K followers or something, and I'm active on that account. So inside our Facebook group is where the community magic is happening. And if you want to be a part of that, then just go to heatherchauvin.com/alive. And for those of you who have been text messaging me, letting me know your aha moments, I was looking for my phone and then realized I'm streaming live on Instagram. So that's where my phone is. You can, if you go to that website as well, so heatherchauvin.com/alive, the number is on there as well to text me. So text me your questions. Like, people are sending me their homework. They're sending me their aha moments from these lives. And that is where the magic happens. I'm a huge believer in connection. I'm also a real human being. And although I might not be able to reply to 100% of your comments, someone's listening. We're here. We're all in this together. And it's really, really important to me that not only do you listen, but you also take action. And I think that's where a lot of women get stuck. So today we're talking about sustainable habits. And sustainable habits are all about creating what you want and desire in your life. So yesterday, the homework that I gave was focusing on your why. Like, why do you want to feel good? Why do you want to have more alignment in your life? Why do you want to stop yelling? Why do you want to make more money? Why do you want to feel like you have more time and energy? Why do you want to have boundaries and feel respected? Why do you want to change the woman that you are? Why do you want to work on your mindset and your thinking? Like, what is the why behind these things? Is it making an impact in your family? Is it making a bigger impact? Like, there has to be something that keeps you motivated, right? So I talked about using your why as a motivator. And some of you sent me messages and said, but Heather, I don't know what my why is. And that is okay. It's okay not to have this perfect why. Why do you want change? It could simply be because you're done feeling like shit, or you, like, whatever it is. Just don't overcomplicate this process. And some of you have been asking, but I don't know what I want. And I always call bullshit on that. So today's big theme is all about sustainable habits. And I'm not sharing, quote unquote, a strategy or a step-by-step guidance. I am not writing a book on sustainable habits. I'm going to talk share a lot of stories from my own personal life, but also watching the women that I work with around how they are able to create the transformation that they crave, not only at home, but in their work. And if you're watching this on video, the reason why I put my whiteboard here is because if I get to that point, who knows, if the conversation goes there, I may show you actually why we sabotage ourselves while we're creating sustainability and kind of how we get in our own way. So let me know if you have any questions before we get started. Yes, Ashley says, kids are so honest. I love it. I can now appreciate my kids' humor. Yes, because my children call me Angry Bird. Okay. Sustainable habits. That is the theme of today. So I'm going to read you a story from the upcoming Dying to be a Good Mother. That's what my book's called, if you didn't know, Dying to be a Good Mother. So in whatever chapter this is, look at, I don't even know what chapter this is. Dying to be a good mother syndrome. And I want to know if you resonate with this. So wherever you are, just comment below, be like, yes, that's me, OMG, or an emoji or something. I want to know that I'm not talking to myself. Dying to be a good mother syndrome. Whenever I mentioned how exhausted I felt, I heard the same reply repeatedly. You've got young ones at home. Of course you're tired. Desperate for new ideas and solutions, I searched online only to find mommy bloggers semi-joking about mommy juice and wine o'clock. At one point, I noticed social media posts from a famous billionaire entrepreneur who's also a mom, bemoaning her perpetual exhaustion for why, essentially blaming it on motherhood. I wasn't just disheartened, I was infuriated. She seemed like an empowered woman, yet too was busy in the idea that motherhood is just about chaos and suffering. This idea is so deeply entrenched into our definition of what good mothering, of a good mother, that no amount of money, status, or outside help can solve it. I remember seeing her post and thinking, is buying into this culture of self-sacrifice really the only way to be a good mother? Is mental, emotional, physical depletion really all there is for us as moms? All right. I may flip the pages and read more, or I will share a little every day as I go on. But I wanted to just read that little piece because it took me a very long time to realize that there are there's always the optimist and the pessimist, right? But it's mindset. And there are like real moments in our lives, all of our lives, where depletion is a real thing, exhaustion and suffering and overwhelm and challenge. But we can ask ourselves, is this what makes me good? Is this what makes me good in the world? And can I choose differently? So my goal for you is to always give you an alternative solution to think differently and to act differently. But you ultimately are the one that gets to choose. So yesterday when I was talking about using your why as a motivator, and some say I don't have a why, or I'm just so depleted, or I'm so stuck, you have to ask yourself, is it that I believe that feeling like shit and not in alignment is what makes me good? Is that what makes you good in the world, to feel like there's never enough time, never enough energy, never enough money, that you're never enough? Like, how does that serve you? Because in myself, when I kept digging deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, what I realized was I actually kept those stories. I held on to those stories because they served a purpose. And the purpose that they served were that they gave me a sense of purpose. Feeling like shit was my purpose. Feeling like shit was where I gained my value. Because I did not know who I was without feeling like shit. So I get questions all the time of, how do I get over the guilt, Heather? How do I get over the fear? How do I get over all of these things? And I'm telling you right now, you don't get over it. You go through it. So you can still have a really strong why as a motivator, but you still have to conquer all of your demons. You still have to look in the mirror and say, I am worthy of feeling good. I am worthy of feeling good. So when people ask me about sustainable habits or energetic time management, which we will get into for the rest of the week, I know that that is not the core issue. I know that that's actually not the problem. The problem is the mental blocks that you have and the stories you've been telling yourself forever. And some of these stories aren't even yours to carry. Some of these stories are from the women that came before us. Some of these stories are the people in your community. Energy is contagious. It is contagious. We know what it feels like when we're walking into a room and everyone's like really low or miserable. We can feel it. We also know when we're walking into a room and people are hyped up and excited. We also know when people are hyped up and excited, but it's toxic positivity of like, I'm fine. So I try to be real and authentic. I still have my challenges. I still have my things that mentally I have to work through every single day. And I have a strong why, and I need to reconnect to that why on a daily basis. But sometimes my why isn't even big enough as a motivator to get me moving. So talking about sustainable habits is the consistency to continuously show up, even when you don't want to, but being in the long game. So let's talk about that. I see some of you, you don't get over it, you go through it. It's taken me 10 years of motherhood, my entire adult life, that I can question and make my own purpose. 100%. This takes time. I've forgotten who I am because I'm trying to be who everyone else wants me to be. 100%. 100%. Okay, so I don't know if you're going to see this on Instagram or Facebook. Let's see what happens. Boop, boop. Okay, so I have a little line here. Okay. And here, and I think it's backwards. Well, not really. It might be backwards. So this is where you are now. Okay. So this is where you are now. So for those of you who are listening to the audio or something, you might want to go check it out. The replay on Instagram or wherever you can see it. So this is where you want to be. Shit. Let me do this. Some of you may have seen me draw this before. Point A, okay? This is where you are today, point A. Point B is where you want to be in your personal life, your professional life, in a relationship. It's just point B, okay? Your goal, your desire, whatever that is, a feeling, don't overcomplicate it. It's just a point B. These are all of the things that get in the way. What I have personally noticed about myself is when I started this work, when I started personal development work, it was very easy to blame other people for why I didn't accomplish what I was accomplishing. Now, where I'm at in my life, I know that I'm 100% responsible for the desired results. That does not mean that I am 100% responsible for doing all the work. I still invest in myself. I actually probably invest in myself a lot easier than I used to. I hire mentors. I'm always up leveling. I'm always rinsing and repeating. I'm saying, what don't I understand? Who's the expert? How can they help me? Or at this stage in the game, I have lots of friends, colleagues that I have made, and we always pass information. I'll say, can I brainstorm something with you? So never do I feel like I'm doing something alone. When I started, I would binge on YouTube videos and podcasts, and I would reach out to people. I started somewhere and I started investing, and then I would make some and I'd go back in. And then I made money, or I spent money before I made it. And then I turned that investment into, actually implementing what I was learning. So wherever you are now, wherever you want to be, there's a whole bunch of things that are going to get in your way. And I always hear people going, why is this so hard? Why can't I just go from here to here? I know what actions I need to take. The actions aren't difficult. So why am I sabotaging myself? Okay. So again, this is all about sustainability. This is not about, 6 weeks to 6-pack abs or 30 days to blah, blah, blah. This is about you committing to change your life. This is about you starting where you're at and wanting to make a bigger impact. This is about you saying, I'm done with the spiritual entertainment of just listening, and I'm ready to leap and jump. So your brain might go, why can't I just go like this? Why can't it just be kitty cats and rainbows? But in reality, what's going to happen is the second you start taking action, let's say, tell me what stops you. Like, be honest. Fear of judgment. Post in the comments below. Fear of judgment. Yeah, trying to be who everyone else thinks I am, right? I won't be good enough. Maybe it's worried about what others think. Okay. Time, right? You might think time is actually a barrier. Sometimes it's not, though. You might think money is a barrier, and it legit might be a barrier at the beginning. So worry, right? These are all emotional things that are stopping you. It's not physical barriers. Someone asks, is B the right thing to go after, right? So is that what I really want? Not being perfect, online haters, family rejection, worthiness. Perfect. Fear of change. Everything I'm hearing you say is fear-based. Fear, 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 fear. Doing things for the wrong reason, at-home responsibilities. Yeah, so you can see all of the pressure and expectation that you're putting on yourself or why you're going to fail, right? I don't even know why I'm holding this. I just realized that there's no microphone on it, but I think you can hear me. Feeling dumb, complacency. Yep, if I don't do it, it's not perfect. Amazing. Doing things for the wrong reason. Okay, so you know the story. You know the beliefs that get in the way, right? So let's just pretend that these are story beliefs, and you may think they're true, and that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes fear is very manipulative. Fear of success. That's a good one. Fear of success. Sounds ridiculous, but ladies, like, if you see these people commenting, like it and be like, me too, me too, me too, because know that you're not alone. Guilt, right? Lack of support. Amazing. So you could write down all of your things as to what is getting in your way. So when you start to take action, let's say you hire support. So this is what happens when people start working with me. They're scared. And then, they're like, I'm so done with my own bullshit. Like, let's go. Let's make magic happen. You're the expert. You got this, whatever. All right. And then they'll say to me, but, how are you different than therapy? I say, well, I'm not a therapist. I used to be. But here we are focused on who you want to be and how you want to feel in your life. So that's point B, right? And you don't have to have 100% crystal clarity on that today. We're not going to talk about your past because your past is going to show up in these barriers. I also believe in a community mentality. So you need coaching, you need therapy, you need the dentist, you need everything, right? I don't know why I just said coaching and therapy and the dentist, but we need multiple different healthcare professionals. We do not need to do this alone, and there's no shame. Sometimes we need medication. Medication saved my life. No shame. Take the medication, go to therapy, get a coach, invest in moving your body, put nutritious food in your body, hydrate yourself, read, do all of these things. And if you have a business and you want to take it to the next level, and hire a business mentor, a business coach. You have no idea what, to talk about money and you have money goals, follow somebody who talks about money, buy their books, read their stuff, attend their webinars, invest in them, do the work. I would not be where I am today by pretending that I knew it all. You do not know it all. You educate yourself. I am a lifelong learner. Having a difficult time in your relationships, go to marriage counseling. That got you to one step. You need to go to the next step. Take a workshop. Done that workshop, go to the next thing. Follow the breadcrumbs in your life. Parenting driving you crazy? Follow people who talk about parenting. Invest in them. Implement. Go to the next level. So what happens is people say yes. They figure out what they want, because my true belief is we all know what we want. And if you don't know what if you don't know what you want, you know what you don't want, right? So make a list of what you don't want in your life. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. Great. What's the opposite of that? I do want this. This is the opposite, right? You don't have to have the perfect picture of what that's going to be, because then you start taking action in the direction of what you desire, and everything that gets in your way, the cliche when they say enjoy the journey, everything that gets in your way is going to pop up and try to sabotage you. Boop, boop, boop. Fear of not being enough. Fear of whatever. Guilt. Self-doubt. Imposter syndrome. Oh, I don't have enough time. Oh, I can't afford it. Oh, whatever is going to come up chronically. It doesn't even matter where you are in your journey. New level, new devil, they say. So here's my point. Sustainable habits are about commitment, devotion, and willing to get uncomfortable and messy. So I don't even know what you would call me. I could label myself many things, but I call myself a recovering perfectionist. I have perfectionist tendencies, type A. My podcast is called Mom is in Control, for crying out loud. Because I felt out of control in my life, because I was trying to control everybody else, right? It wasn't perfect. It wasn't done properly. And so softening that, learning, you have to learn about yourself. You have to be humble. You have to be open. You have to be coachable. You have to have a growth mindset. So as I create my vision, I already know I'm chronically saying, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And we're going to talk about that today over here. The messy idea, okay? And you commit to it. You're like, all right, I got this. And then this is what the journey looks like. Like, you have high highs and low lows, which is why you can't do it alone. Make sense? You don't need to know it all. Exactly. And you don't need to do it all. All right. Boop, boop, boop. But you want to know the magic? Here's what happens, and here's why people beat themselves, and here's why they say, I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to try. Oh my gosh, my squeaky chair. You start to take action, and then the first roadblock pops up. So you run back to A. Because you're doing it by yourself. You're not holding yourself accountable, or you don't have the accountability. You haven't invested in being all in and committed. And I'm going to share personal stories about this. You do not have structure in place to hold you through the upper limit. So then you run back to A and you're like, I'm a failure. Okay. And then you're like, boop, boop, boop. Oh yes, I passed that one. The next one comes up and you're like, damn it. And then you go back. When you are committed to your sustainable habits, the pressure is not as intense because you're expecting these things to come up. Every single day I have resistance in my life. All of these are just a form of resistance. All of them. They can feel really true, but they're a form of resistance in some capacity. That's it. Some form of resistance. And the wiser you get, the more you can see through it. So I've seen some people, like, fear gets really, really strong. So as they become the person that they want to be, sometimes there's people in their lives that are really, really triggered by that. Sometimes you lose those people, those relationships end, and sometimes you stick with it and it works, but you have to be all in. You have to have those uncomfortable conversations. You have to work through the moment of discomfort. Does anyone have questions about what I'm showing you right now? Post in the comments. The replay's going to sound really good with this squeaky chair. I'm just going to wait a minute. Just put like no comment or something. I just want to make sure. Sometimes there's a delay. Do you understand what I'm showing you? How do you know if you are creating the resistance or if it's a natural outside roadblock? I don't really care if I'm creating it or if it's natural. I also see that sometimes natural resistance comes up when I'm creating it internally. And that's like, I don't want to say a bigger conversation. So example, I'm resisting. You could talk about the resistance I had for writing the book. I could talk about that if you want me to. There was times when I had to write my book and I would get up and I was going to the computer and all of a sudden my computer wasn't working. It was like an outside force was creating resistance. So now I just go, oh, that's funny. Haha, I'm resisting it. And I lean into it. I lean into the resistance instead of backing down from it. I may back down from it from a day, but I always come back to it. Could you repeat what you said of what you need for sustainable habits? I don't remember what I said. I probably will repeat myself again, but I never remember what I said. I think it was commitment, devotion. You got to be all in, something like that. I have these aha moments, but then life, work, kids take over and I default back into resistance. Yes, you got to be all in and invested. That's okay. You can lean into it, hire help. How can we identify the resistance? For instance, I am really tired. Or is it that I just don't want to do the thing? Oh my gosh, Kimberly, this is the best question ever. So, oh my gosh, this is so good. Okay, I'm really tired, or is it that I just don't want to do it? So this is also self-awareness. I did not understand. I had no idea because it was socially acceptable to be tired as a woman. I had no idea that sleep was actually one of my drugs. And also my body was malnourished because I never ate, which was socially acceptable because I was too busy to eat, dehydrated, didn't do anything for myself. And I wondered why I was tired all the time. So when you gain self-awareness and you start asking yourself, like, journaling. Like, how do I feel? You have to have connection practices to yourself. When I started these connection practices, what I realized was, am I tired? And I would just start to become like the detective of myself and my own energy. And okay, so example, I'll give you a specific example around the fatigue thing. When I started my business, I was writing these really vulnerable emails, and I would always resist writing them. And it was just a form of resistance for me. So one, I hired somebody to hold me accountable and to help me around that. And two, I just wrote them and I was like, hey, can you look at this? Because I was so insecure about it. But I was really tired. I would get so tired. So I had to start testing myself. So I'm like, am I really tired or am I not? So I'd write the email, I'd send it off, and I'd be like, look at it, and then I'll hit send. And they're like, yep, it looks great. And I was so tired. I'm like, oh, whatever. And I'd hit send. No word of a lie. After I would hit send, I wasn't tired anymore. I'm not kidding. And this comes up again and again and again and again. So now I understand, like, there's really no reason for me to be tired. What am I resisting? That's actually a question that I ask myself. What am I resisting? And I look at the actions that I forget to take, because if you have a belief, that you're not good enough, or you have a belief, fear of failure, fear of success, you are avoiding doing something, and you might be busying yourself, and busy is your drug of choice. So understanding that if you want to live alive, because that's the whole point of this conversation, if you want to feel alive, if you want to feel in alignment, you have to go through that resistance, but you'll also have to test it. So let's go back to my email example. If I sent it and I was still really, really tired, then I would have slept, right? I would have slept it off and then go, why do I feel like this? Did I go to bed late? Did I work? Like, have I been fueling myself? And then I have to become that detective. And so I've chronically been investing in my health, mental health, physical health, emotional health. And you have to start somewhere, like start small and work your way up. So we're going to talk more about this. This makes so much sense. I've definitely let the tired take over sometimes, 100%. And I'll be honest, busy is a total drug of choice. Busy is so my drug. I will be honest that fatigue is, we are typically, the women I attract are very ambitious, meaning like society would look at us and say, oh, you have it all, or like you're a go-getter. And inside you might be feeling that's not the truth. Like, I'm tired, or I'm overwhelmed, or I'm burnt out. And we're doing it from a place of proving. Like, I have to prove my worth, right? Like, how busy I am is that badge of honor that I get. And when you stop and you ask yourself, like, first of all, stopping is uncomfortable in itself. But then you start asking yourself, like, why am I moving so quickly? Like, what's going on here? And you empower yourself, and you have the choices, and you know what you're doing, right? You know how to go through the mind process. This is something I teach, and this is something that I've learned. It's been a game changer, because you can begin to self-coach yourself, and you begin to understand where you're sabotaging. You're like, oh yeah, I'm totally trying to be a pusher here and prove. You have to sit with your discomfort. And a lot of times we're just tired because we will not give ourselves permission to have a break, like to take a day off work and just do nothing. We can get, and I mean, right now is a completely different time, but we can still find pockets of time. Look at what you've been able to get through in 2020. And you're telling me, like, you couldn't create any more space for yourself in 2019? Like, look at the restrictions you're constantly putting on yourself mentally and physically, and look what you've been able to accomplish, right? Whether it was in a positive or negative experience. So taking that lesson and going, what's not in alignment here? What's not working? All right. So I have 20 minutes left. My chair is so squeaky. I want to make sure that I'm getting to the action step that I want you to take for your homework, but I'm going to read these questions. So if you have any more questions, let me know. My husband is always asking me, why can't you just sit down and relax? 100%. And honestly, I would have that as a conversation starter with him. Be like, let's talk about that. I'm going to give you 10 minutes to tell me whatever the heck you want to tell me. and let them go, let them rip. My husband would say a similar thing, and I've gotten way better. I'm also a completely different person because I live a very different lifestyle than I used to. And people think I'm crazy because I have energy and I'm not struggling. Yes, busy is this is so great. Thank you. I have such a hard time relaxing. Okay. Busy is such a badge of honor. I always feel the need to keep up with everyone else when really I don't want what they want. Yep. Okay. So it's not showing me the other comments, so I can't Okay. Let's talk about this. How many of you said busy is a badge of honor? It's hard for me to relax. And if I said, what do you want? Would relaxation or to feel relaxed or content or peaceful be one of your core desired feelings? Like, would that be in alignment with how you want to feel? Let me know. When you know how you want to feel, we implement these strategies. We implement these little micro actions. We put them into our every single day. So nobody is going to stop you. Nobody's stopping you. It's all an illusion. It is all an illusion. It's old stories. It's old beliefs. It's fear. It's going to feel very, very real. But there's actually nothing stopping you from becoming the woman that you want to become. But from point A to point B, sustainable action is 1 degree better every single day. Literally this much. Okay? Like, did you see that tiny little line? And then the next day is another dot, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Micro actions that you are going to take to cross this bridge. So you can start today, or you can live a lifestyle of regret, get to your deathbed, and say, wow, I really fucked up. I really wasted the one opportunity that I had to make an impact in this world. And I see the effects of who I was on people, and it wasn't a positive thing. Or, wow, I got a lot to work on. I'm going to start today by drinking a cup of water or a tea instead of, another coffee. And I'm going to become 1 degree better every single day. Every single day. One little micro action step, one choice at a time. One choice at a time. We are all wildly intelligent women. You are very capable. Very capable. Like, you've accomplished way more difficult things in your life, and you were telling me you can't face your fear, look at it, and choose again, and choose different. You can do this. When we start to take responsibility for how we want to feel, there's nobody else we can blame but ourselves. So Carla is asking, do you plan out the little steps that you're going to take, or do you just go with the flow? I do both. Do what feels like the next step. I do both, Carla. I'm going to be talking more about my energetic time management process in the next few days. So I will be talking about how I take those little steps and what I do, and then kind of the go with the flow process of that. And I also do have a program coming up that I'm going to be announcing on Friday where I teach you this, and you're also going to have accountability, and you're going to be doing it in a group of committed women who are willing to show up and do the work, and they want change as well. So yeah, there's more of that coming. I resonate with codependency. How do I work towards emotional independence? So it's taking these little tiny steps towards where you want to be to where you are now. And what I would do is draw this line in a journal and write, not all the areas of your life where you're codependent, but maybe one tiny area, one small area in your life that you're codependent, and write it over here. And then write where you are now, and write all of the things that you think are like, fear of being alone or whatever it is, like all the stories and beliefs that you're telling yourself. And then whatever the story is here, brainstorm all of the actions, micro actions that you can take that get you outside your comfort zone, that are from a courageous place. So example, you want to make more money, right? Like you want to be financially independent. And one of that is fear of failure, like not being able to do it. So one of the things is maybe like a tiny action step might be to, buy a money book, right? Take a money course, put yourself out there, like these little tiny things. Something simple. So I'm all about like experiential learning. Something simple. I always do things that scare me. And so it may not have anything to do with codependency, but if something makes me uncomfortable, I always do it, not right away, but I will lean into it and I will do it. So I'm going to tell you a story about that. And then I see that by taking that action, it almost created more capacity for me to have more courage and to be braver with my life. And then therefore that affects every other aspect of my life. So does that make sense? All right. So I'm going to tell you a story about writing my book and your homework. So your homework is, I want you to write a list of 20 things that you desire. So I'm going to write this up here. Wouldn't it be nice if? I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. I feel like it's going to be backwards. So wouldn't it be, I'm not going to write it. Wouldn't it be nice if ... We will post the homework after. And you're going to write 20 things. Okay? Wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be nice if? And the first thought that comes to your mind. Wouldn't it be nice if? Second thought. 20 things. These are desires from your soul. And if you want to live alive, you need to step into them. Yesterday, we talked about using your why as a motivator. Today, I'm talking about sustainable habits. We talked a lot about taking action today, a lot about sustainable habits. So now I'm going to give you an example. So that was your homework. That's all you have to do. Wouldn't it be nice if, and you're writing your list of 20. So you can do it in a journal. Tag me on Instagram. I'm at Heather Chauvin. If you're inside of the Facebook group, post it in the Facebook group. We're going to have a homework post there. Take some time for yourself. But if you're too busy to dream about your next level and what that's going to look like for you, are you really committed? Are you committed? So I had this idea to write a book, this desire. So if you asked me, wouldn't it be nice if 10, 15 years ago, if somebody asked me that, wouldn't it be nice if one of those things would have been, wouldn't it be nice to write a book? That would have been one of those things. And for years and years and years and years, I always had an excuse of why I couldn't do something. And one of those big excuses was, I'm not a writer. 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 I'll keep telling you that till the cows come home, just not a writer. And it just, the desire never goes away. So your desires never go away, by the way. So you can deny yourself pleasure. You can deny yourself the things that you want to do. You can deny yourself the things that you want to be that are actually more in aligned with who you want to be, what you want and desire. But if you deny it, the contrast is going to get bigger. So for me with this book writing, it kept coming and coming and coming. And the more I was talking on the podcast and the more it's just this desire was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So do you understand what I mean by your desires getting bigger? Like the whispers getting louder, it's in your face. It will not go away. It will not go away. So it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I was like, fine, you won't leave me alone. You keep coming up. I'm going to lean into this. So then I asked for help and I hired a writer. First of all, I had to make sure that my life was sustainable enough to hire a writer. So that was step one. So I did that, hired a writer, and then we co-created the book together. And I kept saying to her, I don't feel like I'm a writer. I don't feel like I'm a writer. And then I realized that I'm a co-creator. I had so much resistance to be like, how can I write a book? And then find out that, 90% of writers or authors did not write their own books, that a lot of people have writers. And I realized that I would also be doing every single woman who listens to this book a huge disservice to believe that I could do it myself. So when I had that belief of, I need to do it all, it was not good. It was not good. And I'm really proud. And I have a huge say in what this book is about. And I was interviewed for the book. We dug deep. I went over line by line, word by word. I like this. I don't like this. I'm a writer. I'm an author. I'm a co-creator. Here's my point. I did not give up. And then when I made the decision of, okay, I'm going to write this book, I felt more alive. I felt more in alignment because I was listening to a desire. So that's like a bigger desire, right? But when we start listening to the little ones, I don't want to yell anymore. I want water. I want to have a bath. I need space. I need time. I want to cut my hair. I want new clothes. I need to lose weight. I need to gain weight. I want to feel better in my body. I want to feel more aligned. What do you desire? Wouldn't it be nice if? That's your journal prompt. Wouldn't it be nice if? I'm going to give you one more story. One of my wouldn't it be nice if was this concept of really respecting my body through how I was fueling it with food and how I was moving it with movement. And I needed to hire a coach that scared the crap out of me because I need to be challenged mentally. I love to be challenged mentally. And so I found this woman and you couldn't, like all of the fear that came up, the overwhelm, the stories I was telling myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to do this. And this too is talking about sustainable success, sustainable habits. You have to eat every day. So eating a certain way every day, moving my body every day. And it was really just about getting into a routine. And all of those little stripes, right? I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I've never fallen through with any of this, blah, 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 blah. I showed up for every single one of them, backed down, cried, got angry, got all of those things. But I didn't give up. I kept leaning in. And I didn't run back to point A because I was in a container of space and transformation. I had somebody who held a belief in me before I held that belief in myself. The action is never difficult. We all know how to walk. We all know how to make a meal, right? Sustainable habits is when you decide to take little tiny action, little tiny micro baby steps on a daily basis towards point B. And you have the tools and community to work through that. So we have 8 minutes left. And I'm going to answer any last minute questions you have. And then if you are on the email list, we're going to be sending you the homework. If you're inside the Facebook group, we're going to post the homework. But it's making a list of wouldn't it be nice if. This is what your soul is truly craving. Write it down. Don't avoid it. Post it. We're also going to be picking winners at the end of the week. I'm going to be giving away some of my journals. I'm going to give away some books. So make sure you're posting inside the Facebook group. If you're not inside the Facebook group, send it to, you can tag me on Instagram and we keep tabs of that. And you can also share it with me via text message. And if you want that number, go to heatherchauvin.com/alive. And I'm going to answer any last minute questions that you have. So post them here. Okay. Curious if at the same time you feel the need to do everything for yourself, you feel codependent, but at the same time don't allow anyone to help with anything. Yeah, sometimes I get in that trap, but I've conditioned myself now that if it's not alignment or it doesn't feel good, I know that it's resistance, and I take that as a sign and I turn it around. So depending on how much of a priority it is for me to solve that problem, I don't stay stuck there anymore. So example, kind of like the book idea of like, I need to do this myself. I don't really resonate with the word codependent. I mean, we are all codependent on each other in some capacity, like humans need each other. Of course, that can be healthy or unhealthy. So yeah, if something feels out of alignment in my life, meaning it's really, really hard or I'm really overwhelmed, I now just have this filter where I'm always saying, how good can it get? How good can it get? How good can it get? And it's, I can still take action that I don't want to take. I will follow through with my commitment. So example, if there's a pile of laundry and I'm like doing this laundry, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do it all. I can't do this. And I'm like, great, you're going to, if you're going to scale your life, like you got to outsource that. And I'm at a point now where I can outsource that. So I need to outsource it. But if I keep it on my plate and I'm just refusing to let go of it, like that's going to cause a capacity issue. And I'm not going to have time and space to do, the other things are going to help me grow. So then I have to outsource that. I can outsource that to my family and say like, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. Or guess what? I don't need to do 100% of the load. How about we all clean our own clothes, and I can do the little ones that, are too young to do that, but a teenager can do their own laundry instead of becoming angry and resentful. So I'm chronically like decluttering my to-do list and saying, how can I make this easier? How can I make this easier? My filter now as a woman and as a mother and a business owner is, how can I get in my zone of genius? Like, how can I just how good can it get? And I don't wait until I'm living in survival mode anymore, or I'm in pain in order to get things. Like, I'm not in crisis mode. I'm like, all right, yay, next level. Ooh, now I'm terrified of this. Okay, let's work through it. And it's not a race. I'm just like this slow pace momentum. Awesome. How do we choose which thing we will focus on first to break down micro steps? There are so many things. Yeah. So people like to binge on this. Often, like, I have so many things. You either have what I call, you're either managing overwhelm or you're managing abundance. So at this stage in my life, I'm managing abundance and opportunity and possibility. When I started this, I was managing overwhelm. There's always going to be a lot to do, always. Like, I've never met a human being who didn't have a lot to do. We are creators. We're creatures of creation. Pick one fucking thing and start. Stop using all the things as your excuse. Like, you can either stand here and say, I don't know where to start, and you can use that story on the line as your excuse. I don't know where to start. I'm stuck. You're never going to go anywhere else. Pick one thing. Close your eyes, write down the list, and go like this and pick that thing and sit in the discomfort and the vulnerability of, OMG, did I pick the right thing? Just do it. Move. Stop thinking. Start moving. Successful strategies or words that they will understand. I don't understand, Elise. What do you mean by that? Successful strategy or words that they will understand. I totally agree every time, or maybe you were referring to somebody else's message. I totally agree. Every time I do this, after I get over the resistance, it feels so good. Yeah, you got to go through it. Okay. So what I really want you to get into is to realize that yesterday was about understanding your why. Your why is your motivator. If you are like, I don't know, pick a simple why. I don't want to feel like shit. I never want my daughter to feel the way that I do. I never want my friend. I don't want this for any other human. I want to be the change. And your why can change. Your why can change. So when I started, my why was I never wanted my son to feel the way that I felt as a child. Now my why is for you. I know that the more I show up, the more I'm showing up for everybody else. So I just want to make an impact in women's lives. I truly believe we do not need to suffer and struggle like we are. Things are challenging, 100%. But I also believe that when we come together and say, how can I help you? Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. And oh my gosh, that's a horrific thing to go through. And I'm going to hold space for you. We can feel our feelings. We deserve them. We can be non-judgmental towards each other. And then I can say, what do you want? What do you want? And how is that going to impact the world? How is that going to impact the little people looking up to you? How's that going to impact your neighbor who sees you every day? How's that going to impact the people that you talk to on a daily basis? All right. Day 2 is done. Come back for day 3. I'm always leaving you guys suspense of what is she going to talk about. I am going to be getting into conscious parenting, conscious discipline, relationships. This is my jam. I absolutely love it. And also energetic time management. So post your homework. Text me your aha moments. If you don't know what the phone number is, go to heatherchauvin.com/alive, and it says text, and then you can send me a text. That's it. Be you. Take the pressure off. This is like a free training. You have not committed to a PhD. Get engaged, but it doesn't need to be perfect. I want this to be I want this to serve you. I don't want this to take from you. So ask yourself, what's the story I'm telling myself here? Take the fucking pressure off. I think your eyebrows look awesome. Post fresh tint. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, my little Angry Bird eyebrows. How do you and your husband jive together without competing for your wants and needs? So there's a lot. This is a great question. I'll answer this question and then I'll go. How do you and your husband jive together without competing for your own wants and desires? So me and my husband are, okay, first of all, we've been married for we've been married for 11 years. We've been together for 13 years. When he met me, I was severely depressed. He saw me through cancer. Like, we have had our ups and downs. That's a loaded question. But I will tell you right now, we are 2 individual souls having our own human experience. And I do what I want and he does what he wants. And we say, what do you want together? I had to change myself first, and then he started coming along. And that is what I hear from 99.9% of the women. They're like, how do I get him to change? By osmosis, as you change, they change too. It can create friction, but it can also be the best thing ever. It is deeply vulnerable. We don't compete. We just don't compete. I say, what do you want? What do you desire? Okay, go create that. I am not here to fulfill his wants and desires. I am here to, it's a win-win partnership. And that's how we feel. And so I ask, what do you want? What do you desire? What do I want? What do I desire? How can we make both happen? So it's an equal exchange of energy. And sometimes my wants and desires are more and bigger, and he's content, and that's okay too. There's different seasons and reasons, but you got to start with you. I find as women, we just totally want to change and control and manipulate, make sure everybody else changes, but we got to work on ourselves first. So the more alive you feel, the bigger impact you are going to make in other people's lives, whether you trigger or inspire them. So keep your comments coming. Send me a DM, send me a text. We got this, ladies.